everyone, welcome back to Gracie May's Tarot. So today's video topic was requested by a subscriber. This is how will your future spouse treat you? Now I didn't put a time frame on this, so this could be talking about when you're dating, once you're married. We'll just see it as we get into your cards. But for pile 1 we have you've been doing a great job considering all you've been up against. For pile 2 we have you need to give yourself time to heal no matter how long that ends up being. And for pile 3, we have you are strong, you are resilient, you will defeat this. And we're also going to be using this new dice set that I got. I'm very excited about this. I'll definitely try to list the name of the Etsy store in the description box in case you're interested in getting your own set. And yeah, let's get into your reading. Hi pile 1, welcome to your reading. So if you chose you've been doing a great job considering all you've been up against, you are in the right place. So as you can see, we're doing things a little bit differently today. We'll be shuffling on camera, which I'm very excited about. I also have these new love dice. Now I went ahead and rolled the dice for you before I started the reading, just because I didn't know how the sound was going to be. This was my first time using these, and I was kind of worried if you're listening to this with headphones, it might be a little bit loud. So anyway, that's why I already rolled the dice, but we're gonna go over these first and then we'll get into your tarot and your oracle cards. Okay, so this is how is your future spouse going to treat you? Also, before we get started, I just want to say I've been sick for like 2 days, so if I sound a bit off or a bit low energy, that is why. So I just ask for your patience. I really needed to film because I'm kind of behind and I'm in my last quarter of grad school, so it's just a lot going on for me. I'm in like a transitional period of my life. So if you all can just be a little bit patient with me during this reading, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so you can see first here we have like this Robin Hood kind of looking figure, and then next to it here we have this piece of bread that's broken up into little crumbs. So for many of you, I feel like in the past with previous connections, and maybe not even necessarily romantic, this could also be even as deep as wounds from childhood, you know, issues with parents or siblings, but you kind of just feel like in relationships, people take from you more than they give. And you end up just feeling like your resources are kind of depleted. And this is sort of like your future spouse comes in and the way that they treat you feels like they rebalance the scales. So you know how Robin Hood would steal from the wealthy and give to the poor? It's not to say like, sorry for that analogy, but it kind of feels like that. It feels like retribution. It feels like a rebalancing of the scales. You're no longer gonna feel like you give and you give and you give, and the person that you're with is just taking with no sense of limitation. So, you know, in the way that your future spouse treats you, it doesn't feel like you're settling for breadcrumbs anymore, and it finally feels like you're with someone who's willing to give just as much as they take. And yeah, it's not always going to be a perfect 50-50. No connection is like that. But they're able to move with you. They're able to make those adjustments, right? There's a flexibility here. So like I've been sick for 2 days, right? So like if I was married right now, my partner would say, hey, she's sick. I need to give more than I typically do. So maybe I need to cook more or clean more to try to, you know, make sure that she's okay and she can rest and be well. And I'll take care of these other chores that she would typically do. And that would be like a rebalancing, right? Or, you know, in your case, this is just an example, right? But if that was reversed and they were sick, okay, now I would pitch in more to cook or clean or, you know, like whatever their typical responsibility was. You know, like they would take care of my cat for the 2 days that I was sick, you know, something like that. So there's a nice balancing of the scale and a willingness to adjust when it's necessary if someone is sick or having a hard time at work or is like really stressed and, you know, and is just going through a difficult time, that kind of thing. So very beautiful. Now with this castle here and the crown, oh man. I really like this energy between you two because it really feels like these are two equal partners, and like I see your crown and you see mine. You know, like there's a high value in this relationship and an appreciation for what each of you brings to the table, and you're able to balance each other out really well in that manner. And it feels magical. It feels like a wish come true. You know, this feels like the type of dynamic that you've always wanted, because there's a little bit of like a fairy tale kind of energy here between you two. It feels like power couple vibes. It feels like, you know, we give each other the freedom, the space, the independence, but when we come together, you know, we are true partners. We work really well together. And so, you know, your future spouse just treats you in a way that, you know, you feel catered to, but not in a way where they have power over you, which is really cool, right? So like, you know, they'll take care of you in a lot of ways, but they would never undermine your sense of independence or your personal autonomy, you know? So that's really, really positive. I also think that with the little letter here and the quill, this is going to be someone who communicates a lot. Like this is going to be someone who checks in with you over text message and says like, hey, like how was work today? Or, you know, just checking in, want to see how, you know, like your big presentation went, you know, like if there's something that you're really anxious about that day. And not to say they're going to send you like this really long text message like every 5 minutes, but it's going to be more of like, you know, I know that they're really nervous today. Let me send them some silly little Instagram reel, or let me send them, you know, a cat picture. I don't know, whatever you're into. You know, let me send them a message to know that I'm thinking of them or I'm supporting them, or, you know, to make them laugh if they're having a difficult day. Yeah, you know, and this could also be someone like, okay, say you're having a very stressful week and then they just send you a message and they're like, hey, why don't we do a weekend getaway? And, you know, are you down for this? I'm about to book the tickets if you are, you know, like that kind of thing. But the beauty here is that yes, there's spontaneity with them, but they also always check in with you. Like they don't make decisions by themselves without considering you and making sure that you're okay with it, which is really great. You know, they're not forcing you to do anything that you don't want to do. Yeah, and I feel like in terms of like their emotional communication, that's really strong. I think that they're really able to pick up on your moods without you necessarily having to explain so much. So I think this person is very emotionally mature and is really able to communicate very effectively how they're feeling, but also support you. So this is someone who can hold space. You know, they're not being prescriptive and telling you what to do or how you should feel or how you should think. You know, this is someone who's very respectful of, again, like your individuality. And yeah, you know, I think communication is going to be incredibly strong in this connection. Now, with this little bear here, there is a ferocity, you know, to your future spouse that I think can maybe be unexpected, because they kind of have a very like sweet, cozy kind of energy to them, but at the same time, like as sweet and supportive and just lovely that they are, there's also a side to them that is very protective, very protective. And so you may like that and you may not. This kind of gives me the vibes like I was watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, don't judge me, before it went terrible, and Lisa Vanderpump was still on the show, and there was a scene, you know, all the ladies were against her, and there was a scene where they were I think they were on a beach and they were having a dinner, and there was like 5 or 6 people just ganging up on her, and she is a very strong personality, like her or hate her, she is a very strong personality, very intelligent and able to hold her own, and her husband usually doesn't intervene too much, but in that scene he literally stood up at the table and he said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like he pointed to all of them and counted them and said, you know, I think it was like 6 against 1 or 5 against 1, he said, no, we're leaving. Like if you want to individually like address your issues with my wife, then fine, but we're not going to sit here and she can't even say a word. She's being drowned out by 5 people or 6 people attacking her all at once. We're not doing that. And so he stood up and he said, let's go. And so then later she's like, you really shouldn't have done that. Now they're going to get on to me because you spoke up for me, and, they don't want the husbands involved in anything. And he's like, tough, And the next day, they left the trip. They went to a neighboring resort and had a great vacation. And, they left them in the dust kind of thing. And yeah, she did have to pay for it later because obviously the rest of the women were mad that they didn't get to just verbally annihilate her at the table. But ultimately, as a viewer, I thought her husband did the right thing. And so you may like that and you may not. But I think this is someone who would quietly support you. But if they saw you were in a situation where multiple people were attacking you, or they just felt like someone was really disparaging your character and they didn't want to listen to it, they would absolutely step up and say, just firmly, but, because they're a strong communicator. So this isn't someone who's going to yell or curse or get out of pocket, but they would just firmly say, enough is enough. We're done here. And they would remove you from that situation, but they would protect you. And, you may feel like I don't need protection. I don't need someone to do that. Others of you may love that. But just so you know, that's how your future spouse is going to be. There's a certain threshold of nonsense that they're willing to tolerate. And when someone crosses that, enough is enough. And that threshold is a bit lower because it's you. You're their partner, they love you, and they're just not willing to listen to it. They're not going to sit there and tolerate someone speaking poorly of you. They're just not going to hear it. All right, let's get into your tarot. Let me know in the comments if you like these dice. I'm really vibing with them. They're so pretty. They are from Etsy. I'll try to put the store down in the description box in case you're interested. I got some more dice from them as well. I just wanted to use these in this reading, but you'll definitely be seeing me use more dice in these tarot readings. Okay, so pile 1, how is your future spouse going to treat you? I just love shuffling on camera. I know it makes the videos longer and some of you may not like it, but it's just a different vibe. I just really like it. I'm still gonna try to balance it out, to meet everyone's preferences, but I just really like shuffling on camera. Oh, we have the Sun. Pile 1, how is their future spouse going to treat them? We have the Magician. I actually want to put these down here so you can have a chance to look at them before I put them up. Pile 1, how is your future spouse going to treat you? 8 of Wands. I'm laughing because that reminds me of the message where I said they're quite spontaneous. Pile 1, how is your future spouse going to treat you? Wow. Okay, 8 of Pentacles. All right, bottom of the deck, we have 9 of Wands. I just want to make sure you can see everything. You can. And this 9 of Wands, I do feel like your future spouse has a tendency to maybe do too much. So there may be a conversation that has to happen at some point in your connection. Again, it's going to depend upon your personality, pile 1, because you may love this. Others of you may feel a bit smothered by this. But there is a tendency for them to overdo things. So for example, they may spend too much money on a gift for you, or they may be like me and they, sometimes when I buy gifts for people, especially my best friend, I will buy them one thing and then fill it up with a bunch of smaller gifts. And so sometimes that's that can add up because I keep seeing things. I'm like, oh, they would like that. Oh, but they would like that too. And then I end up spending too much money because I just love to shop and I love to buy people things. And so there may be something like that where you're like, this is a little bit too much. Or, maybe they go really over the top with cooking you food and you're like, this is too much, I can't eat all this, I feel bad, I can't eat this much food. There just may be something in them where they give a bit too much. And now remember, if you're someone who's used to receiving breadcrumbs and all of a sudden someone hands you a whole loaf, that also may contribute to that feeling of like, this is a lot. And so it may be sort of a meeting in the middle, like they need to scale back a little bit, but you also need to be more comfortable with receiving, especially if you're someone who struggles with receiving gifts, compliments, or help or assistance. So just be mindful that they're not trying to encroach upon your independence because they really respect you as an individual, but it's just in their nature. You know, it's just in their nature to give. And so I think there may be a little bit of a compromise that needs to happen here, but given the fact that they're so strong in their ability to communicate effectively, I don't see it being a major issue. It might just be a conversation that needs to happen. Okay, now with the Sun, the Magician, the Eight of Wands, and the Eight of Pentacles, this is someone who is very hardworking and ambitious and puts a lot of focus into their career and their stability and their projects, and they kind of apply that same work ethic to their personal connections as well, especially their marriage with you, because they want it to be a success. They want it to be, you know, happy and fulfilling and good for both of you, and so they're going to treat you in a way that will, you know, hopefully lead to a long-lasting marriage. You know, they want to have, the word success is coming up pretty strongly, like they want to have a successful marriage. And so I feel like this is someone who, like, yes, on the day-to-day, they put in the effort, you know, they show you that they care, that they're thinking about you, they show up for you in a very, like, real and grounded way, but at the same time, they also are very spontaneous and they want to be romantic and they want to sweep you off your feet and that kind of thing. So I feel like there's two sides to this person. I feel like the spontaneity may come up more once they're comfortable with you and they've been with you for a while. You may see that more adventurous side of them come out, you know, further into the connection when they're more comfortable with you. They may hold that back in the beginning, and that may just be because they want to make sure that you're kind of up for the same things that they're up for. So like this person may just randomly suggest like, hey, let's go for a ride in the mountains, or hey, let's take a weekend trip to the beach, or let's try out this new restaurant. It's 2 hours away, but let's just go for it, you know, and like we'll just explore the area when we get there. That kind of thing, you know? And so they may hold that back in the beginning and just kind of test the waters and see how you feel about it. I also feel like this is someone who, because they put so much effort into their career, they may kind of push themselves to the point of burnout sometimes because they're trying to give 100% in all areas of their life. And so that may go back again to that conversation of like, you don't have to do so much for me, and you can't keep doing so much for me and do so much at your job too. Like there has to be, something has to give in some area, you know, of your life here. Like you can't work yourself into the ground. And so that kind of, I feel like, is something that they're gonna have to learn as this all unfolds, is how to create more balance, especially if you want to start a family and have children. It just may be something that they have to figure out. And I feel like that's where this magician energy comes forward. Like, if they're not spiritual, this may be something that you introduce them to, but kind of like that need for a tight control over their career may be something that they have to ease up on, or if it's a project that they really care about, or even if you live together when, you know, before you get married and you notice that they are, you know, very particular about making sure everything is clean and organized and everything is in its place kind of thing. You know, you may say like, hey, like, you know, the laundry will be there tomorrow. Like, you're really tired. I think you just need to go to bed. You had a long day. You know, you may just have to say that to them because you see them overworking themselves so consistently or being really hard on themselves. And so I know we're getting more into like how you're gonna treat them, but I feel like it factors in. Like it's kind of hard to talk about one without, you know, mentioning the other, because I think that even if they're resistant to that in the beginning, I feel like that's something that you're gonna teach them. And so their life is just gonna become a bit easier in that way, because they're gonna start to work more with like letting go and just trusting that things are going to work out, and they don't have to have such a tight grip on things. And so that's where that magician energy comes from, you know, like yes, you do your part, but then when things are outside of your control, you leave it to spirit, right? And you trust that things will manifest, you know, for the highest good. You know that your outcome that you're wanting, if it's of your highest good, it will come to fruition. And so it may be something that you're introducing your future spouse to, or if they're already spiritual, this may be something they already know they need to do and they just struggle with it a bit. Yeah. And really, like with the Sun card, like your future spouse is able to do so much hard work with a smile, and they do so much for you with a smile. Like they really just give their all to life. Like this is someone who just puts their heart into everything that they do. Even like if they have pets, like you will see how much effort they put into taking care of their pet. I'm always like, I resonate with that, because I'm always personally amazed, like when I talk to people and they're like, my cat or my dog, you know, like they're such a jerk, or I'm like, well, do you play with them? Do you take them out for walks? Do you cuddle with them? Do you know, like, are you on top of, like, I don't know, it just kind of shocks me. I'm like, yeah, like your pet probably is salty because you're always forgetting to feed them. Like, did that ever occur to you? You know, like you can't opt out of certain aspects of being a parent to your pet, you know? And so, you know, or your fur baby, whatever terminology you want to use. So anyway, your future spouse is someone who just puts their heart and their all into everything that they do, and so that will extend to your connection as well. I just think that at some point, some aspect of their life, some area is gonna have to be scaled back a bit. Like they just can't put so much effort into everything and expect to not burn out eventually. And you know, you may be sitting down with them and saying like, hey, I want to start a family, I want us to have kids. We can't do that if you're working, you know, 60 hours a week at your job, and then you have this creative project, and then you want the house to look like a catalog all the time. Like, you know, like we can't expect this. This is not reasonable. And so you may introduce this idea to them that life can be a little bit messy, and it doesn't always have to be perfect, and they don't always have to pretend to be happy and joyful. You know, they can show their weaker side to you. And when I say weaker, vulnerable is a better word. You're gonna want them to be more vulnerable with you. And it's not that they're, again, like they're very emotionally intelligent. I just think that they're better able to show up for you emotionally than they are to express when they're feeling down. So you may have to say like, hey, you can seek support from me. You don't always have to be my supporter, my cheerleader, that kind of thing. The trash truck is outside, so you may hear a noise for a couple minutes before they drive by. But yes, so your I didn't mention this, but your future spouse could also be a Leo with the Sun card here. They could have fire sign energy in their chart as well, so also Aries and Sagittarius, because we have quite a lot of fire sign energy here. And then with the Eight of Pentacles, they could have an earth element placement in their birth chart. So, you know, maybe they are a Leo sun, but then their rising sign or their Mars is in an earth placement, something like that. So that would be Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. These are just examples. Remember, this is a general reading, so don't ever think that if I don't say a certain zodiac sign that it's not your message, okay? Because there's a lot of you watching. All right, I feel like I've gotten enough messages from the tarot, so let's go ahead and move on to your oracle cards. I feel like if you had any apprehensions, like if you were worried, you know, is this person gonna you know, not put in the effort? Am I gonna have to do all the work kind of thing? I think it's gonna be, it's like you have a good problem. It's, you know, they work too much, they give too much. You know, it's a good problem to have because it's a lot easier to get someone to scale back a bit. And it's, again, like it's in all areas of their life, rather than getting a lazy person, someone who's apathetic, someone who is selfish to care. Believe me. Like, believe me. Okay, so pile 1, how will your future spouse treat you? We have divine guidance here. How will your future spouse treat you? Okay, I saw this grace card before, so I'm definitely gonna take that one. And then we also got prosperity here. And then bottom of the deck here, we have passion. They have so much, like they have a heart of gold. Like they really put their heart and their soul into everything that they do. I also think in terms of physical intimacy, again, like they're more of a giver than a taker. So we're keeping this PG, but I think you can work out what that means. So we have divine guidance, we have grace, and we have prosperity. Now with this divine guidance, this is kind of a higher level message, but I do feel like in some ways and I wanted to say soulmate, so this could be a soulmate connection, but I feel like in some ways your future spouse is really meant to teach you something. Because we've been talking a lot about how you're going to help them. I think now we're balancing that out, and this is how they're going to help you. I feel like in some ways they act sort of as like a spirit guide to you, and they kind of help you process your emotions and get comfortable with the idea of familiarizing yourself with your shadow aspects. And kind of getting comfortable with that integration and how to gracefully move through sort of the situations and challenges that the universe, you know, the cycles that you're being put through, and this idea of handling those cycles with grace. You know, maybe in the past you were resistant, or you felt like, why am I being punished? You know, when is this going to end? When is this going to end? And you know, maybe that even caused a bit of a disconnection for you from spirituality for a time. But I feel like there's something there about your future spouse's life story and the wisdom that they have that is going to be very inspiring to you. And it's not that they're giving you advice or telling you what to do. It's more so they're sharing with you what they have been through, and then that serves as an inspiration to you. And so just in being who they are and seeing their path and how they have evolved, I think is gonna help you on your path to self-development as well. So again, like that's a higher level message, but it did come through, so I wanted to say that. I also feel like with this grace card here, in terms of how they treat you, when you are going through a really hard time that just demands that you act in a way, you know, where there's grace, you know, that temperance energy, because there's a lot here. I would say an overall theme of your connection is one of balance. But you know, if you're someone who really struggles with forgiving people and letting go of the past and moving on from situations that, you know, are not serving you, and, you know, you just feel like stuck or stagnant or restricted, and you don't, again, you feel like you're being punished over and over again and you don't understand why, I feel like that is when your future spouse really shines in this connection. This is where they really help you with that, and they really just kind of serve as a mentor, but in a way that's not condescending. And that's what's so beautiful. You know, they don't make you feel like, you know, you're dependent upon them or you're lesser than them in some way. They really just seem like a stable, safe space for you to express your fears and your worries, and they hold space for you. And then if you ask, they're able to share Again, wisdom is coming up so strongly because it's not advice, because they're not telling you what to do. They're telling you what they have learned from their past. And there is a little bit of a difference, because I think that they're able to say things in a way that is so tactful that doesn't feel, it doesn't make you feel like you're in this space where you owe them something, or they're in a higher position than you. They never make you feel like that. And I think you're going to really appreciate that about them. Now with this prosperity card, I do feel like their love language could be gift giving, because we kind of got that a little bit before. I feel like they really put so much into their work and their career and their projects because they want to give you stability. They want to give you security. They want to treat you, they want to buy you nice things. They want to show you that they care. And it's not that this person is materialistic, but more so they understand that, when money goes out the door, love goes out the window. I don't know if I'm messing that saying up, but they understand, and this could come from their childhood, but they understand that having financial scarcity in a connection puts a lot of pressure on a relationship. When people don't have a lot of money and they're living paycheck to paycheck, that puts a lot of stress on the connection. You don't have as much time to spend together. You're more snappy because you're stressed, and you're having more arguments, and you could argue a lot about money and food, and you can't go out and do fun things together without being worried about even just the gas money to get to the location to do the fun thing, even if it's free. I feel like this person may have come from a lower socioeconomic background, or they have just known times of financial stress in their life, and they're like, I don't want that to affect our connection, and so that's why they work so hard. And I do think they place a value on stability and security in terms of finances. So it's not that they're materialistic, but it's just that they understand the value of money within our, society. Okay, let's get some more messages here about how your future spouse will treat you. Pile 1, how will your future spouse treat you? Sorry, I was just checking to make sure we were still filming. I always get paranoid about that. Oh, we have happiness. And we have inspiration. I feel like we've been talking about inspiration a lot. And then bottom of the deck, we have empowerment. I should take that card, because I really feel like that's what it is that, yes, they're very inspiring to you. And it's likely that they're inspired by you as well. But I really feel like both of you have your own individual strengths, and I do kind of get this energy that you guys have very different backgrounds, or you've had very different life experiences, or your personalities are a bit different maybe. There's just something there about opposites attracting in some manner, and when you come together, you're even stronger, but you really appreciate your differences. And you see what you have to learn from each other. And so, I really feel like your future spouse is going to be an inspiration to you, but in a way that empowers you, and vice versa. I feel like this is a mutual energy here. Again, a lot about this connection is about balance. I do feel like they'll do anything to make you happy. So I do think that between the two of you, they may be willing to make more concessions than you are, and that may be something that you need to be mindful of. You don't want to take advantage of this person. You don't want to walk all over them, because they are the type of person where, okay, I'll concede, but maybe the 4th or the 5th time you ask me to concede, now I'm getting fed up, because I can't always be the person who's compromising. And so you don't want to push your future spouse to a certain point, because yes, they want to make you happy. Yes, they'll do anything to make you smile, to make you laugh. They want you to be happy. But that can't come at the expense of their own happiness. And so, you know, you want to be appreciative and you want to match that energy. So if they're willing to compromise, okay, maybe they compromised 2 arguments ago. Maybe it's your time to compromise, you know, or maybe you need to meet them in the middle. But there has to be some sort of give there, because if you take advantage of this willingness for them to, you know, give you the moon, eventually they are going to get tired of that, because your future spouse is someone who respects themselves. You know, they're not a doormat. So even though they love you so much and they really want to see you happy and they really have a heart of gold and they want to give you the world, they're not going to do that if it's detrimental to their own mental and emotional well-being. So not to say that you will take advantage of them, pile 1, but it is a warning for at least some of you to be mindful of that. You know, don't take advantage of their goodwill, because if you're used to receiving breadcrumbs, if someone's starting, like I said, you know, if someone's willing to give you the whole loaf all the time, you may get complacent in that, and there can't be a power imbalance here. You know, like that's not what this connection is meant to be. And so if you are not doing your part to keep that flexibility so that, you know, most of the time you are equal, that is going to spell problems later on in your marriage. So just be mindful of that. That message did come through. You know, not every message is going to be happy-go-lucky. So I did want to share that with you. Just something to be mindful of, right? Because we want this marriage to be happy and we want it to last. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, which deck do I want to take next? Let's take this one. All right, pile 1. How will your future spouse treat you? What do we need to know? Pile 1. How will your future spouse treat you? What do we need to know? We have focus, and we have emotion. Just want to say, bottom of the deck, we have happiness again. You got happiness twice. Like, they really just want to see you happy. Really. You know, I feel like they feel a personal responsibility for that. And that's not, again, like that's not necessarily something that they should feel. It's just how they feel, right? Like, no one is responsible for your happiness but you, ultimately, right? But they don't want to be someone who is detrimental to your happiness. You know, like they want to support you in doing what you need to do to make yourself happy. They don't want to be an energy vampire. They don't want to drain you of your emotional reserves, you know? And so there's a fine line there, right? Like, language is so important to this person. Like, this person is so they're so concise and very, how do I say it? They're very selective about how they speak and the words that they choose. Like, they're very careful about it because they don't want you to misunderstand what they're saying. You know, they're not saying it's my job to make you happy, but more so they want to make sure that what they're doing is, again, like a support to your happiness and isn't actively antagonistic towards your happiness. And that's how it is sometimes, right? Like, we've all been in situations where, or most of us have, you know, where we're in a draining environment and like you're trying your best to be happy about it, you know, and protect your energy, but when you're in an environment where people are just awful, it's a drain, you know? Like, we've all been stuck at jobs where we go to work, we're feeling great, and then despite our best efforts, by the end of our shift, we're miserable. You know, like, your future spouse doesn't want that to be your home life. You know, they don't want you to come home and dread coming home and wish you were at work. You know, they want you to enjoy the connection as much as they enjoy the connection. And so I do think that they take very careful notice. This is someone who's very observant, and they're really gonna watch, like, your moods and your nonverbal body language, you know, your nonverbal cues, like what are, and I think they pick up on it even energetically, you know. They can tell when you're faking it, they can tell when you're forcing it, and, you know, they don't want you to feel like that. They want you to feel like you can just authentically be yourself. Sorry, guys. With this focus card, again, there's a lot of attention on you and the connection. Like, as busy as this person is, they still direct a lot of their attention towards you and the relationship. So you are a main focus and a priority in their life. You may not always feel that way, but you are. You are. And I say that because they're so busy. And again, that may just be a conversation that you have to have with them. And with the 4 here, I feel like this is where they view like the stability in the connection is your communication about emotions. Like, they sort of feel like as long as we're open and we discuss honestly how we feel, we can make it through anything. But we have to share with each other how we feel, or this isn't gonna work. And so that's where they would put a lot of focus on the connection, is making sure that you're emotionally communicating and you're being vulnerable with each other and honest and open and forthcoming, because that is what is going to build that stable foundation, you know, in your marriage. And I really feel like there's sort of this energy here of like, let's make sure that our goals and our plans for the future are reflective of each of us, so that we can ensure, you know, long-term happiness, you know, in the future. You know, that balance is very important. Okay. I don't think I can fit any more cards in. Oh, no, I can. It just felt like, I think there's certain places in this where it's, here, we'll just do that. Okay. All right. So pile 1, how will your future spouse treat you? Pile 1, how will your future spouse treat you? What do we need to know? They're very playful. They are very playful. With this frisky card, like, they definitely are, they have this kind of energy to them, because if you'll notice, like, these all look like kittens. Like, this might be a cat, but these two definitely look like kittens to me. I do feel like there's this energy of them being very connected with their inner child, especially, like, we were picking up fire sign energy in the beginning. And as a fire sign myself, like, I'm a Leo, I definitely feel like there's this playfulness to fire signs, you know, and this willingness to be adventurous and be silly and joke and laugh and not take life so seriously. And so I do feel like there's a side to them that is very playful and fun and spontaneous. And so this is someone who would definitely, like, make little, you know, like, have like little inside jokes with you, or tease you, or, you know, like, playfully, like, there's kind of this energy of them flirting with you in a way where they're touching you. So, like, they may tell a joke or tease you a little bit and then, like, playfully push you on your arm or your shoulder, that kind of thing. Or, you know, like, if they know they've done something that irritates you, you know, they may come over and, like, hug you or be like, hey, come on, you know. So there is this playfulness to them, a little bit of a touchy-feeliness to them. And I do think that they would definitely be someone who would plan, like, really fun dates where you kind of do activities. So maybe not necessarily like, okay, we always go out, you know, to eat. Yeah, you may eat on the date, but that's not like the main event. You know, like, this is someone who would be like, hey, let's go do a picnic by a waterfall. Or, hey, you know, like, for example, when I went to the beach with my friend, they had, we were at the shopping center and there was a kiosk for, like, helicopter rides, and I was like, oh, we have to do that. And she has a water sign. She was like, no. And I was like, yes, let's do it. And she was just like, Bethany, no. And I was like, yes. And so, you know, obviously I got my way. We did it and we had a lot of fun. But yeah, something like that. Like they would be like really spontaneous and like, let's go do something fun. You know, like I like pushed and pushed for us to go to a theme park because I love roller coasters while we were there. You know, this isn't someone who just wants to, okay, like let's go for a spa day and just sit around and relax, you know, like I feel like there's an energy to them that's a little bit too antsy for that. Not to say they wouldn't be willing to do it if you wanted to, because they are, we picked up, you know, willing to compromise a lot. But I feel like if you're asking them what a good time is, like they want to have fun, you know, like that's a big thing for them, is they want to have fun. And I think it's because they work so hard that they need to do something to release all that energy, you know, like they need to do something to get something to channel all that stress into, you know, from their work week. Now with this choose non-action, I do feel like if they were to just have like a chill day, for them, it's more of, I want to get out into nature kind of thing. So it's not to say that they can't just go sit outside and meditate. I do think that they could do something like that, but it's more so like for them, a restful time would be like a walk through the, you know, through a park, you know, like there's something there about them. Even when they're resting, they still kind of want to move. You know, like I do think that sometimes they kind of struggle with sitting still, and I think that's because they have a very active mind, and if they're sitting still, there's a part of them that says we should be being, you know, we should be more productive, we, you know, we have to do X, Y, and Z, you know, tomorrow because we're taking this day off kind of thing. And so I think when they're moving, that inner voice, that inner critic is more quiet, and that's easier for them. So you may find that, you know, they, when it comes to dates and spending time together, they really want to go and do something fun. And if it is supposed to be more of a relaxing day, they still want to do something that involves movement. You know, like maybe they want to go for a swim at the lake. They don't really want to sit in the sand kind of thing. But yeah, we're getting more into like what dating them is gonna be like, but I think you catch my drift. So like they are definitely planners and someone who's gonna plan fun things for you guys to do. Okay. Let's see. Let's get into the love messages. So pile one, how will your future spouse treat you? I didn't really have a plan for the ending of this reading. Now that I'm like looking around, I'm like, oh, so this is actually just going to be the end. These are going to be your final messages. All right, so pile one, how will your future spouse treat you? What do we need to know? Pile one. Oh, we got life purpose. I am not surprised. Like, I'm not shocked at all by this card because there was so much about you guys being mutually supportive of one another. We got a little bit of an energy of a soulmate connection here, about you being an inspiration to each other. Like, there's something that you're meant to achieve together. Like, you're really meant to help each other grow, which is great. Like, if you're growing together, you're not growing apart, right? We've got creativity. This person definitely has some fire sign placements, 100%. Like somewhere in their birth chart, whether it's their rising sign, sun, moon, Mars, Venus, something, they've got some fire sign placements, absolutely. But with creativity here, they could also have a lot of placements in, you know, the 1st or the 5th or the 9th house as well. But with creativity here, like they really just put so much effort into, again, like planning dates, planning nice gifts for you. I think that they're really creative too in the way that they go about like cheering you up or, you know, trying to make you laugh. Like I think you'll be like, where did they even find this video to send to me? Like this is so random. Or, you know, like they may say the most oddest thing to you when you're really upset and you just burst out laughing. Like, I think this person is very funny, very comedic, you know, element to their personality. And yeah, I feel like they're so lighthearted in a lot of ways. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, this is such a type A person in a lot of respects, but then they also have this like fun, silly, lust for life kind of aspect to their personality. So I feel like there's two sides to them. You know, there's kind of that earth sign side, and then there's the fire sign side. This could definitely be a connection where you misunderstand them in the beginning, or you think you know them, but then as you spend more time with them, some of the other sides to them come out, because they really seem like a very dynamic person, and the more you get to know them, the more you love them. I've always said that myself, because I have a Capricorn rising, which can be kind of like off-putting to some people. And it's very different. Like, my moon is in Gemini, but my sun is in Leo. So people like really misread me when they first meet me a lot of the times. And I've always said I would rather people grow to love me than grow to hate me. Like, that has always been how I have viewed it. With the distorted feminine here, I think this is really speaking to your future spouse's tendency to overgive, to take on more than they should in terms of other people's emotional states and well-being. You know, maybe in the past they really struggled with boundaries. I do think they've grown and evolved a lot. With this inner peace card at the bottom here, even just seeing worthiness here as well. Like, I really feel like their self-worth was something that they really had to work on, but now they have cultivated a real sense of inner peace in terms of how they view themselves. You know, they've really grown to love themselves. They've done a lot of healing, a lot of inner work, and yeah, I feel like when you meet them, they are definitely ready for you. And it's just gonna be, I think, a matter of making sure that you're not taking advantage of them, but also that they are doing their part not to like overgive, you know, because they don't want to make you feel smothered. Like, there is a real respect there for your independence. And I think given how busy your future spouse is, I wouldn't be surprised. This person kind of feels like how do you say it? Ambivert? Like, they really balance out. They could be like a sociable introvert. You know what I mean? Like, I really feel like they're not clingy and they're not codependent, but they just love hard. They love very deeply, and not everyone can handle that, you know? So yeah, just something to be mindful of. Okay, pile 1, this was your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I would like to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel thus far, and thank you for your patience with me today. I'm not feeling my best, but hopefully this reading was still enjoyable for you all to watch, and I will see you all in my next one. Take care, pile 1. Hi, pile 2. If you chose, you need to give yourself time to heal. No matter how long that ends up being, you are in the right place. Now, I am not feeling super great today. I've been sick for like 2 days, so if you guys can give me, you know, a little bit more patience with this reading. Pile 1, I think, went pretty well, so, you know, just give me a little bit of grace in this reading because I'm not feeling super great. I'm in my last quarter of grad school, and it's been a lot. I'm in like this transitional period of my life, and so, yeah, it's just been a little bit hard, but it will get better. Now, we're doing something different today. I'm really excited about this dice that I got from Etsy. I'll put the store down in the description box in case you're interested, but we're gonna be using this first, and then we'll get into your tarot and your oracle cards. So I want to start actually with this right here, these two. So you can see this person is tied to this chair, and then we have the castle with the trumpets. This reminds me of the Six of Wands in tarot, and this reminds me of the Eight of Swords in tarot. So I really feel like there's some sort of energy here about you feeling very stuck and trapped in your life when you meet your future spouse, or if you already know them, maybe you're currently in this energy, but there's something there about you feeling very limited in some way. Now, for some of you, it's going to be like a limitation in terms of your physical resources. Some of you could just be been feeling very down about yourself, or like, am I ever going to meet the one? Is there even somebody out there for me? You know, you're feeling just sort of down about love, or it could be some other aspect of your life, you could just be feeling like you're going through a really rough period in some aspect. And so when your future spouse comes in, it's going to feel like a victory, but I also feel like your future spouse kind of has this energy to them where they're kind of like your hype man. Like they really build you up, and we all need a helping hand in some manner at some point in our lives, like everyone needs help at some point, and it may just be that you need reassurance, you need those positive words of affirmation that you can do something, or that, just because this was your past, it's not always going to be like that, because you did get this message about needing to heal something. So it could be that there's just something about your future spouse's energy that is very restorative, but in a way where they're like your biggest kind of cheerleader kind of thing. Like they just really want to help support you in any way that you're willing to accept support. And I do think that with this sort of like double-sided person here, you see the white side and you see the clear side. I do feel like this is kind of an energy where you get to know this person puzzle piece by puzzle piece. Like this feels like a slow burn kind of connection, and it could be that they also have been very hurt in the past. If you're needing to heal something, both of you could have some strong boundaries or even some walls up. And it feels like there's such an energy here of being very respectful of where you're at and where they're at, and a willingness to accommodate the other person. So no one here is saying like, you need to say I love you within this number of months, or we need to move in together by this date, or I'm breaking up. There's no like ultimatums here. There's no forced timelines. Well, society says this is how it should go kind of thing. Like there's really this energy of our connection is ours. We're going to do this on our own timetable, when you're comfortable, when I'm comfortable. We're just going to let things flow. Like if you need space this week, I'm giving you space. If you need to hang out this week, we'll hang out. If you need me to call you on the phone, if you need me to not call you on the phone, like it's just this energy of being very respectful about what the other person needs. And with this mountain card, I'm so used to saying card. With this mountain symbol, this is actually one of my favorites on this dice here, because I just love this idea of we're in this together. Like this mountain here that you've been staring at and wondering like how you were going to overcome it. You don't have to walk that path alone. Like I'm here beside you. And yeah, I'm not here to fight your battles for you, but I can hold your hand. And I think that's beautiful. And I think they also teach you this idea that you're just meant to climb the mountain. You're not, like you're not meant to carry it around on your shoulders all the time. And there is the sun, right? Like there is a light at the end. You know, there is a positive outcome. You just have to keep going. Like, even when you don't feel like it, the only way out is through. Like, you just have to keep going. And so I feel like they're just very encouraging towards you in that manner. With the Knight here and this man, it really also sort of feels like this idea of like hidden, not hidden. You know what I mean? Like, this could be the same person, just one is wearing a mask and one isn't. Like, it really feels like there is some aspect to them where it's not what you see is what you get. I think it feels that way in the beginning because this person is very direct and blunt and honest and forthright about like their boundaries and what they need and what they expect and their willingness to do the same for you. But when you get to know them over time and those walls kind of come back a little bit, and then you see this softer side to them. And it's not that it wasn't always there, it's just now you get the privilege of seeing it. And I think that you guys are going to mirror each other in that way. Like, I feel like you're going to be kind of the same way, where, you know, you're very blunt and like, this is what I need, this is what I expect, these are my boundaries, take it or leave it. And they respect that because they're the same way. But then as you get to know each other and you get more comfortable and you start to trust each other, okay, now we're showing our scars. Now we're showing our vulnerability. Now we're showing a lighter, softer, more feminine side, you know, to ourselves. And I think that's going to be very beautiful, but I feel like the way this unfolds is completely within your comfort zone and completely within their comfort zone. And that's why I said it feels like a slow burn. Now, with this card here, again, I keep saying card. I'm sorry. I'm gonna drive some of you all crazy. It looks like they're conjuring something, doesn't it? Like, it looks like something, like they're saying something and it's just manifesting in their palm. And so I do feel like there's an element here of you're everything I prayed for, you're everything I wish for. I feel like you came into my life magically. I feel so lucky. And that's very romantic kind of language, right? I don't feel like they would say that outright. I feel like that would become more apparent. Those deeper feelings they have for you, again, are going to be shared with you well into the connection. So this may be like a friends to lovers kind of thing where you slowly open up to each other. And that could be why we had this energy here of like support, because I mean, that's what friends are for, right? Support. And so I could definitely see this being a friends to lovers dynamic as well. Okay, so we're gonna move this to the side here and we will get into your tarot now. So I chose the Modern Witch Tarot for you all. I'm just looking and making sure that you all can see everything. Okay. And if you are going through a healing process right now, Pile 2, my heart goes out to you. Be gentle with yourself. Take care of yourself. You deserve that. And, you know, you're not your past, and there's no need for you to become the people who hurt you. And if they did hurt you, that had a lot more to do with their own projections than it had to do with you and your lovability, okay? Some of you, I feel like, needed to hear that. If you didn't, then you can leave it. All right, Pile 2, how will your future spouse treat you? What do we need to know? I love shuffling on camera. There's something like so special about it. Okay. I'm feeling so breathless. Like, again, I apologize if I'm like really low energy. Pile 2, how will your future spouse treat you? Whoa. I love this deck, but the cards are just too thick. How will your future spouse treat you? What do we need to know? This was wanting to come out. Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is a great start. I'm not taking all of these, but I do feel called to the Hermit here. How will your future spouse treat you? Five of Pentacles. Oh, yes, 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 yes. 100%. Okay. We have the Queen of Pentacles, we have the Hermit, we have the Five of Pentacles, and we have the Six of Swords. If the Five of Pentacles is going to show up in a reading, having the Six of Swords next to it is one of the best cards you can get next, okay? Because the Five of Pentacles talks about being out in the cold, feeling isolated, not having assistance, not having help. It can talk about social isolation. It can talk about financial scarcity. It can talk about not having stability, security, not having what you need, and having that discomfort. Okay, there is discomfort in your life. And having the Six of Swords next to it, the Six of Swords talks about getting to calmer waters, leaving something behind that was difficult and painful and was causing you anxiety and stress. So moving from choppy waters to calmer waters. But you see, the person who is being tortured here, you know, like this person who's been very stressed and very anxious here, they're not the ones driving the boat. Okay, they're having someone help them. Someone has come in and offered them this assistance. So you go from having no help at all to having help. And so remember how we said like there was an energy here of your future spouse like helping you out of this tight spot that you were in. I do feel like this could absolutely be you meet this person, you develop a friendship, and they help you in some way get out of a difficult situation that's causing you stress and anxiety. So for some of you, this could be like they help you change your living situation, or, you know, they help you get out of a toxic work environment, or they help you with a family issue that's been deeply hurting you. And that, again, that help can look very different. You know, that could be saying like, hey, like I have a friend who needs a roommate, or, you know, like I can help you get a job at this place that my brother works at, or, you know, I went through this myself before and this is what I did. Like they give you something tangible. Even if it's, you know, advice, it pushes you towards the right path. And so there's something there about them providing you some sort of support and encouragement. And I mean, with the Hermit card here, like you've had definitely like, I don't think this healing process is something that's new to you. Like I feel like you've been going through it for quite some time with the Hermit card, because this is the energy of someone being alone on a spiritual journey and doing a lot of deep inner work and shadow work and self-reflection, and, you know, coming to a lot of realizations, and, you know, just really deeply learning about themselves and their place in the world. And that's something you do on your own, you know? So I definitely feel like a lot of you, when you meet your future spouse, you're gonna have gone through a period where you were really alone. And you may have been surrounded by other people, but you know that doesn't really mean anything, right? Like you still felt like you were on your own. So I feel like that's kind of an aside message, but I do feel like there is this sense here of, even though they're gonna help you in some way, because I really feel like this is your energy, to be honest, this Queen of Pentacles, even though they're gonna help you in this manner, they're helping you step into this Queen of Pentacles energy. Like you are still, you're not going to feel indebted to them. You're not going to feel like you owe them something. You're not going to feel like a charity case. You know, like they're helping you empower yourself. Okay? And again, like everyone needs help at some point, but it's not to say that, you know, you're just sitting around, you know, with no plan and you haven't been doing anything. Like that's not it. It's just that they help you figure out how to get to this Queen of Pentacles energy. They help you with that process. And the Queen of Pentacles is the exact opposite of this Five of Pentacles. Like, this is someone who has more than enough with the bunny. Like, this is someone who is very abundant. She's holding her coin. She is in her own lush, beautiful garden. Like, some of you, this is really about like a new environment for you. You can see those mountains in the background, right? Like, they help you see. It's almost like they help you overcome this mountain, and now you're on the other side of it, and that sun that was over the mountain was actually this pentacle, right? Like, it was your stability and your security. And so I do feel like there's something there about your sense of safety, security, stability, your sense of feeling protected that is really benefiting from this connection. You feel safe. I actually want to get more tarot for you because I feel like your reading was a little bit less straightforward than pile 1. So let's just see if we can get some more information about this. I'm sorry, you may have a longer reading. Pile 2, how will their future spouse treat them? Pile 2, please, Spirit. How will their future spouse treat them? Pile 2, please, Spirit. This card like it's just calling out to me. I'm sorry. Pile 2, how does their future spouse treat them? Oh yeah, they're really telling us a story here. Like, there's gonna be something in your life. Oh yeah, this really feels like there's something in your life that was meant to end. So you're going to experience some kind of ending. Some kind of ending right when you meet your future spouse, or right when the romantic connection starts to develop. And that ending is clearing the space for you all to be in union together. And through that ending, you know, the Tower card is quite destabilizing, right? This is something that you initially thought was going to last forever. You were investing a lot of time and effort into it, and then something happens, rug pulled out from underneath you, and it's over. And so that could be a connection, that could be a living situation, that could be a job, you know, something in your life suddenly ends that you thought at one point in time was going to last. But given the fact that you have this healing card here, I kind of feel like you were expecting this. The Tower is supposed to be unexpected. I think that you were expecting it, but the way it happens surprises you. And I feel like you had made your peace with the ending long before it actually happened. Like, I feel like this could be a situation where you were really disappointed that a job or a living situation didn't turn out the way that you had expected, but you didn't have the financial means to leave. And so you were kind of healing from that disappointment even before you were going to be able to leave. But it's like when you were planning on leaving or thinking maybe it would be possible for you to leave, something happens before that date that you had in your mind, and now you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was only prepared for this to end 3 months from now maybe, but it's ending in a month. You know, like, the company is closing down, or my roommate says I have to get out. Like, what do I do? And so there's something there about you wanting this ending. You have made your peace with it emotionally, but now the ending has occurred in a different way or sooner than you expected, and you don't know what to do. And so this is where your future spouse comes in. But this tower moment is happening to clear space for this connection to evolve. And this definitely feels like a soulmate connection with the Lovers. With the Strength card here, this whole situation is going to be ultimately so empowering for you. It's going to teach you exactly how strong you are and exactly how, like, what you're made of. And this is Leo energy, so it feels like the confidence that you get for how you're able to handle the exact thing you didn't think you were capable of handling is going to help you feel more confident in your romantic life with your future spouse. But I think it's also going to help you trust this person a lot faster than you otherwise would have. So like, yes, it's still a slow burn, but it's not gonna be like moving a mountain like you thought it was before. It's just climbing a mountain, which is a lot better than moving a mountain. Even this path forward kind of looks like a mountain a little bit. So there's just something there about overcoming something and them supporting you through that. And it feels like you're always going to hold this experience near and dear to your heart. Like you're always going to remember how they helped you. And sorry, speaking from someone who has been through this in a very major way in my life, that time period taught me more about who was in my corner and who was just waiting to kick me when I was down. Like it shocked me. In some aspects, people, acted exactly like I expected them to. And in other relationships, it was heartbreaking. Like it was heartbreaking to see how much joy people took in seeing me struggle and seeing me suffer. And I couldn't understand why. Like I didn't understand like why it made their ego feel better for me to be distraught, but it did, and it was heartbreaking to see that like people that I thought would be supportive and would always be there for me were actually like celebrating my failure. And I feel like the way that they treat you during this time is going to really show you that they're a trustworthy person, that they are a good-hearted person, that they are someone who actually does want the best for you, and this person isn't someone who operates from a place of ego. And yeah, I feel like that is why there is such a strong... I think that's part of what it is too. Like when you have a tower moment, what comes next afterwards has to be built on a solid foundation, because you don't want to go through that tower again. And so that's part of why this is a slow burn connection, but it's such a strong and resilient connection at the same time. But yeah, I feel like the way they treat you during this time period, how kind they are, how non-judgmental they are, how gentle they are with you, how supportive, how helpful, it's just going to mean the world to you. Kind of reminds me of Taylor Swift's song Delicate, where she says, you must like me for me because my reputation has never been worse. That's absolutely like the energy of this connection here. I know that was telling more of a story. Again, like it's just the way the cards came out. I have to read it the way that I see it. I know some of you get frustrated with that, but I can't control it. Like if that's what your guides want to say, then that's it. I'm not gonna make stuff up. Okay. Pile 2. How will your future spouse treat you? Pile 2. We have communication and we have strength. So now you've gotten strength twice now. I really feel like the way that they treat you is in a way where I think that their love language is words of affirmation, because I feel like this person has such a knack for saying the exact right thing exactly when you need to hear it. And I think that you may have some experiences where you try to confide in your parent or your friend or your coworker, and they just make you feel terrible. They just make you feel worse. They make you feel judged and, just even more terrible than before you even started the conversation. And then you'll talk to this person, your future spouse, and they will have such a dramatically different response than the other person or people that you've tried to talk to. And that experience is really going to, because I think it's going to happen a couple of times, but the more that it happens, the more that you start to see this person as a safe space and a rock in your life, and someone that you can open up to without feeling judged. And you're really going to compare how this person treats you to how other people treat you in your life. And because of that, it's almost like a new standard is created, and you start to expect more from the other people in your life, because now you know what it feels like to be emotionally validated and to be heard and to be understood and to be listened to in a non-judgmental way. And so you're gonna be taking less crap essentially from other people and saying like, no, it's not okay. It's not okay for you to invalidate me. It's not okay for you to make snarky comments or, you know, try to tear down like my self-worth. It's not okay for you to give me a backhanded compliment. It's not okay for you to put me down to make yourself feel better. Like, it's not okay. And so I feel like in the way that this person treats you, it's going to cause you to raise your standards with other people in your life in a positive way. And I really feel like communication is a real bedrock of this connection. It really feels like that's something that you guys mutually value. And again, it's not that you're telling them your whole life story and every hurt that you've ever experienced like right away. That's not the dynamic. It's more so that they are respectful of the time that you need and they don't push things. And so there's just this deep emotional understanding between you two without you having to say a lot, because they're able to pick up, you know, on like your nonverbal cues. But when it comes to talking, you know, they are a good listener and they are someone that you can open up to, and it feels like you're able to do that for them as well. It feels like communication is just really strong with you all. And you know, pile one had a similar message, but with pile one, it was more of like, you know, these deep, like quality conversations and kind of like they got on like a house on fire kind of energy. But with you all, it's more of really respecting each other's pace with this and really easing into things. And it may even be that other people don't understand it. I think that you may encounter that a lot, where people are like, oh, I don't think they're that into you because they haven't texted you in like 3 days. You know, if they were into you, you know, like you may have people around you try to put their judgments on this connection, or may try to influence or have opinions about the connection, may try to get in your head about it. But, you know, you have the Lovers, you have the red string of fate. Like, there is an energy here of like, you just know that this person is your person, but that doesn't mean that we're rushing into things. And you don't have to understand our relationship because it's not your connection, you know, like it's not your business. And so like there's this real like aspect of privacy here. And like, you know, we know what the other person needs and we know what our agreed upon expectations are because we've communicated that. And so it doesn't matter if you think it's weird that we don't talk on the phone every day, or that we don't see each other every day, or that, because again, it's a slow burn, so there may be still some distance in the beginning. This may unfold in a way, again, that other people don't really understand, but it's not for other people to understand. It's not for other people to have an opinion about it. Like, you all just know each other really well, and you know and respect what each other needs. And so I feel like they treat you so well, but other people in your life may not understand the connection or may still judge it. And that's going to be, unfortunately, something that, you know, you're going to have to probably deal with as this unfolds. And so I think if you can just remember this reading and remember to not let it get to you. Because a lot of it is other people projecting their fears and insecurities around romantic connections onto your relationship, and that's just not fair. All right, pile 2. How will your future spouse treat you? Pile 2. How will your future spouse treat you? Pile 2. Your future spouse also might be someone who's really introverted, or if they are an extroverted person, I think that they have been hurt a lot. And I think that's why, again, like, they have their own walls and boundaries and things like that, and that's why they like to take things slow. We have glamour here. Pile 2. How will your future spouse treat you? Pile 2. I just like to see this dream sweet, sleep deep. It's very cute. And then we have psychic protection here as your bottom of the deck. This definitely feels like a soulmate connection, like 100%. Like, this feels very, very spiritual. I even see healing here now. Yeah, it feels like this person's higher self is protecting you even before you come into union. This definitely could be a connection where you have seen them in your dreams, or you've seen signs and synchronicities about this person in your dreams before you meet. I feel like this person just opens up your third eye and this idea of what is possible and how a connection can be, and changes your mind about what romance can look like and what a loving connection can look like. Like, I don't feel like they're giving me, God, there's this old Drake song. It goes, let's stay together until we're ghosts. I want to witness love. I've never seen it close. I want to witness love. I've never seen it close. Like, I don't feel like this is either your energy or theirs. It feels very muddled in this reading because of that soulmate connection. Like, it's harder for me in this reading to differentiate between you and them. And it could be because you're mirroring each other with the soulmate card, you know, the lovers. But there's this energy of, I've never witnessed personally a marriage that I would want for myself. Like, I've never seen a committed, loving, healthy, stable, lasting relationship where I'm like, yes, that's the kind of marriage I want. I've never seen that in my personal life. I haven't seen that in my family. You know, it's either you or them or both of you where, you know, you come from a family where people get divorced a lot, or people were never together, or there's absent parents, you know, and grandparents raising their grandchildren, that kind of energy. And so that there's this energy of, like, the way that they treat you really opens up your eyes to, this is what love can look like, and this is what a marriage can and should be. And you rest easy at night. Like, you sleep easy at night. Like, there's no, like, when you're married to this person, there's no energy of, like, anxiety and, like, where are they at? Who are they with? You know, there's no fears of someone cheating on you, someone lying to you. Like, you sleep easy at night. Like, you don't have to look over this person's shoulder. You don't have to go through their internet history. You don't need all the passcodes to their phone and every other electronic device. Like, you don't have to worry. And that may be something that is completely, entirely new to you. Like, oh, I don't have to be on guard. I don't have to be watching my back. I don't have to ask 20 questions about where they've been and who they've been with. I don't have someone lying to my face. Wow. You know, like, that could be a completely new energy for you that you've never experienced before. Some of you may have always been single and have never been in a romantic partnership. So that could also be a message for some of you. I'm seeing the orange stray kitty cat outside that I've been feeding. He's looking better. I don't know if it's a he or a she, but they're looking better. They're looking floofier, so that's good. I've been kind of worried about them because it's been very cold the past 2 days. Okay, they're going up to the food dish. Okay, they're eating. That's good. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. So anyway, I really feel like that's going to be this is either your energy or theirs, but that's going to be a completely new experience that I think is going to be very nice. And it's a huge change because we've got these repeating 5s, and then we also have these repeating 4s, which talks about stability and security. So it's going to be so different than what you're used to, but it's going to be a welcomed change. I also feel like there's an energy here. Some of you may have some insecurities about certain physical aspects to your body or your body shape or body type. Like there's something there about some sort of physical insecurity that you have. And it may just be like one physical feature, like maybe you don't like your nose kind of thing. And I think you're going to be quite shocked. Like this person will tell you, I love that about you. And you'll be like, no, you don't. And they're like, no, seriously, like, I love that about you. Like, I love your nose. And then, you'll be like, shut up. No, you don't. You're just saying that to make me feel better. But they're not. Like, they genuinely, there's some sort of message that may not resonate for everyone because it is more specific. But there's something about your physical features that you're insecure about. But it's actually going to be this person's, like, favorite physical attribute to you, or it's going to be something that they actually find attractive. So like maybe you don't like that you have freckles and this person is very attracted to freckles, that kind of thing. Not that there's anything wrong with freckles, I'm just throwing out examples, okay? But yes, okay. I think that's all the messages that I'm getting with this so far. Okay, let's continue onward. Pile 2, how will your future spouse treat you? I definitely think that words of affirmation is a big thing to take away because they affirm and validate your emotions. They, affirm and validate you in a way that helps you feel more confident, more secure. Pile 2, how will your future spouse treat you? Pile 2. We have attraction. Yeah, they're very physically attracted to you. And that may have been something that you didn't really feel like in the past. Or if you've been single for a long time, or maybe you've never dated anyone prior to this person, but there may be something to where you're like, you feel like you've had to compensate in the past. Like, okay, I'm not the prettiest or most attractive or most handsome person, but I'm really funny and I'm really smart and I have a great personality and, I treat people well and, I'm trustworthy and I'm loyal. You may have felt like almost like you had to sell other aspects of yourself because you felt like physically you weren't enough. Like there's just some sort of, I think it's like a wound from childhood, but there's some sort of insecurity that you've had to heal. But I think that this connection is going to just, not that you haven't been working on this prior to meeting them, but it's more so like you finally believe it. Like you were sort of kind of like this energy of, I'm telling myself that I'm beautiful. I'm telling myself that I deserve love. I'm telling myself that I'm attractive. And I keep saying it and saying it and saying it, and I'm faking it until I make it. But then when you meet this person, now you like finally really truly in your heart believe that you are attractive and that you deserve love. And again, that may be a more specific message. Not everyone's going to resonate with that, but it did come through, so I wanted to mention it. We have communication again, so you've got communication here twice. Yeah, it's just like two peas in a pod. Like you guys just really understand like how to talk to each other, and I think it's a really unique way that you converse with one another. Like maybe you guys are, both introverted people and you don't need to have a lot of constant chatter with each other, and you can sit in a comfortable silence, or you can be doing what you enjoy doing and they're on the other side of the room doing something on their own and you just like being in each other's presence. Or this could be like, you guys both like to tell jokes and that's how you process like your emotions, and they're the same way. And so other people may not understand like your sense of humor, but you guys get each other. So there's just something there about your communication with one another being very special and being very much in alignment with one another. And then we also have affection here. So I feel like the way that you express affection is very much exactly what each other needs, and it doesn't scare the other person off, because it kind of, I don't know, like both of you have this energy. I'm a Venus in Cancer, so I get this vibe, but like both of you kind of have this energy of like a protective shell around you, and you know, kind of like a deer in a forest. Like you gotta approach you in the right manner, and if someone comes on too strong or does something that, you know, triggers a certain response in you, you can just lose interest, cut it off, run away, you know, distance yourself from it. You know, like you're easily spooked in love, and I think it's because you've been hurt a lot, and you know, we had that healing card in the very beginning. Like you're just not trying to repeat the mistakes of the past, you know, and that can make you a bit more closed off in some manner. You know, or you have, again, like those wounds from childhood that just still affect you, that kind of thing. Oh, I almost forgot a deck. We're actually going to do this one next. So, yeah, there's some kind of energy of that. But I do feel like that the way they express affection towards you doesn't raise those alarm bells. You know, it makes you feel safe. You feel secure. You don't feel smothered. You don't feel, you see the mirror here with the black cat? Like, the way they show affection doesn't trigger like your shadow self. It doesn't trigger your ego into fear. Like you're not scared away. Cats are like that, right? Like you have to approach a cat in the right manner. Like you can't just see a cat and walk up and pick them up. Like cats like, excuse me, I don't know you. I will scratch your face off. Like don't, you know, like you have to be respectful towards a cat. Like there's a certain etiquette when you are meeting a cat for the first time, you know, like you reach out your finger to say hello, they boop your finger, okay, now maybe we can pet them by their face, but we're certainly not gonna go for the belly straight off, you know, like there's just a way to approach a cat, and I think there's a way to approach you. And so, you know, there's kind of like this energy of that, of like, you know, they know how to and that may be something they have to learn with you. You know, they may not know it right off the bat, but there is a willingness there. You know, there is an effort being put forth to just help you feel safe, which I think is very beautiful and very nice. Trying to think if there's any other messages coming forward here. Pile two, pile two. Woo! The cards fell on the floor. Okay, we have cautious, and we have fullness, give thanks. And then we also have, bottom of the deck, we have comfort, take it and give it. Okay, now we have a black and white cat walking by. All the stray cats know, like, my place is the place to eat. They, like, have their spot set up in my front yard. But anyway, so I just think it's very cute that we have this cautious card here, and we were literally just talking about, like, there's a right way to approach you. Yeah, I feel like your future spouse is, like, very mindful of their actions towards you and how you might perceive it, and they are definitely very thoughtful and very intentional about what they say and do. You know, this is definitely someone who thinks about things. They're not impulsive. They don't just, you know, for example, like, say you're dating them and they wouldn't just say, like, hey, I cleared out this drawer for you, so, you know, and I made a key to the apartment, so, you know, you can come and go as you please. They know that kind of thing might freak you out, and you may say, like, whoa, what? Like, you did what? You get, you know, like there's a conversation before things happen. Like, they're not they don't tell you like, oh, hey, like my family is so excited, you know, for us to have Thanksgiving dinner together. And you're like, we never discuss Thanksgiving plans. You know, like they're not that type of person. They don't make assumptions about what you would be comfortable with. They have that conversation with you. They don't just assume things. And I think that's something that you really appreciate. Like you like that they treat you with mindfulness, you know? And I feel like there's a real sense of gratitude there. So like if you're doing something nice for them, they appreciate it. They express the words thank you to you and they reciprocate it. You know, like this is someone who is very grateful for you and your time and very respectful of you and your time and your efforts. And with this take it and give it, like I just feel like you two are so mutually supportive of one another and you really are each other's safe space. Like you did, there's just this warmth to this connection, you know, like I kind of feel like your safety net, you know, and I think you function in that way for them too. I think in a very different way, but it's definitely there. That energy is definitely there. There's mutual gratitude, mutual comfort, and a willingness again to be respectful of each other's space and needs. Okay, so pile 2, these are going to be your final messages. How does your future spouse treat you? What do we need to know? Pile 2. Also, let me know down in the comments what you think about the love dice. I also have an Astro Dice set, and I bought another set from this same store that I'm going to be using in future readings, so definitely helpful to let me know how you think about them or how you feel about them. I think they're super pretty. I don't know, I really like using them. We have resolving conflicts. Yeah, like when you are down and out, that is where this person shines. Like when you are just feeling at your worst, this is how this person shows you that they are the one for you, because they are just there for you. It says empathy, compassion, understanding, love. Like they are just holding a candle for you. Like they are the light in the darkness. Like it's that rough, tough life experiences that knock you out. And this person just comes through like a guardian angel, and they are just such a help to you. And you're like, you know, they're showing you that they're there for you. They're showing you that you can rely upon them. They're showing you that they can be a safety net for you. They're showing you that you can trust them, that they believe in you. You know, like they just show you. It's not empty words. Like, yes, this person knows the right thing to say, but it's not empty words. Acts of service could also be a love language for this person. We have abundance here. I really feel like this person sees you as someone that they can build a life with. Like, of course it's your future spouse. Woo! I just dropped all the cards. Of course this is your future spouse, but it's not a dynamic where they want to take care of you and they don't want you to have goals and dreams of your own. It's not like that. You know, it's like, yes, they want to assist you in any way that they can, but they are really supportive of your goals and dreams as well, you know? And it doesn't matter what your dreams and goals are, you know? Like, if your dream is to be a mother, then they would be supportive of that. If your dream is to do something creative that may not necessarily bring in financial stability right away, they would be supportive of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about the money, it's about supporting you in what you want to do. And yeah, they just see so much possibility for like true wealth in the sense of like joy and happiness and stability. with this Rainbow Reviver, it really feels like, again, like you're at a point in your life where the light has gone away and they bring the light back to you. And so it's like everything is in shadows, it's dark, everything's in black and white. I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, like a cold winter night, that's dark, right? And they bring the light back in. You know, they show you that everything is gonna be all right, that you're safe and protected. And yeah, there's this feeling of weightlessness. You know, the way that they treat you just makes you feel light as air, like you're in the clouds, you know? Like things don't feel so heavy. You feel lighthearted again. You feel playful again. You feel like a kid again. You know, they just... And even with the stars here, it really feels like the stars are aligning, like this was meant to be. Like you feel very comforted by this connection. And the way that they treat you with all the different colors of the rainbow, like they're able to adjust to your moods and your needs, you know, like they understand that what you need on Monday may not be what you need on Friday, you know, like they're able to make those adjustments. Like they just really, really care about you. And it feels very mutual. All right, so pile 2, this was your reading. Thank you for your patience, because again, like I know I'm very low energy today, but I appreciate it. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to simply watch the ads. Thank you so much to everyone who's been supporting the channel thus far, and I will see you all in my next one. Please take care, Pile 2. Best of luck to you with everything. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose you are strong, you are resilient, you will defeat this, you are in the right place. So we're actually going to start with the dice first, and then we will get into your tarot and your oracle messages. I just got these from Etsy, so I'm really excited to use them. Please let me know in the comments if you would like to see more videos using this dice. I bought multiple sets, so you'll be seeing me experiment with different ones, you know, over the course of November, most likely. I'm also not feeling well today, like at all. I've been sick for about 2 days now, so if you can just bear with me if I seem low energy or not like my usual self, that is why. Okay, so we have the treasure chest here, and we have the man, looks like a little prince, and a frog, right? So a frog prince. And then we also have the windmill here. We have this face with the dollar sign, and we have the little magical carpet. Oh, I also forgot to say, I rolled your dice because I was worried about the noise level for those of you who are wearing earbuds. So that's why I've already rolled the dice for you all. But anyway, in terms of how your future spouse is going to treat you, I do think that there are a couple different possibilities sort of springing to mind here. This definitely feels kind of like a fairy tale romance, especially because we also have this ogre here as well. It makes me think of Shrek and how, you know, there could be sort of an element here of your future spouse not being your usual type, or that they have to sort of work to earn your affection, or this could be something internal within them where they feel like for some reason they're just not good enough, or you're giving them mixed signals and they're not sure whether you're really attracted to them, and so they feel like they have to put in a lot of effort, they have to do a lot of work to, you know, sort of win you over, because even the carpet here reminds me of Aladdin, and it was kind of the same dynamic where, you know, Aladdin was out there stealing bread off the streets and she was a princess. So, you know, there's kind of like this dynamic of not feeling good enough. So maybe you come from a wealthier background, or maybe you, you know, have parents who are judgmental. I don't know, there's just something there that's causing your future spouse to feel like they have to work extra hard. And again, it may have absolutely nothing to do with you and everything to do with their past and their insecurities and that sort of thing. And this could also signify that your future spouse really tries to impress you, and that they really want you to only see them at their best, and they want you to see them as someone who's really hardworking and someone who is like self-made and has earned everything all by themselves. And so, you know, it could be like a period of time where you're like, okay, but I need more from you. Like, I need to see your vulnerable side. I don't need to see you always so confident and so put together. Like, I want to see the real authentic you. And so that may be like a little bit of a disconnect in the beginning. I think in terms of how they treat you, they absolutely will like roll out the red carpet kind of thing, like try to wine and dine you. They'll be very active and very forward in how they pursue you. They definitely could try to take you out to really nice restaurants, or you know, places where that cost kind of a lot of money. Like, even going, gosh, the last time I went to an art museum in Atlanta, it was ridiculous. Like, the tickets, the parking, the food, getting something from the gift shop. I was like, man, if you do it all, it adds up really fast. So there could be some sort of element of that where your future spouse plans like really elaborate dates, or they take you to really nice places, or they try to take you to places where you'll be impressed. And with the windmill here too, this is also reminding me of the Wheel of Fortune. So I do feel like there's sort of an element here of, you know, like fate and destiny, but also that this is a big change for you. Like, I don't feel like you've been with this kind of person before, and it kind of feels like, again, like a quest, like a fairy tale, like the Frog Prince, right? Like, he had to go through a journey before he was the right person for Tiana in, you know, The Princess and the Frog. Like, he was a jerk at the beginning of the movie. From my recollection, I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. Kind of it's same thing with like Rapunzel, right? Like, they didn't really get along in the beginning. He was like out for himself. Shrek, same thing. Like, he wasn't really all that concerned about Fiona. And so, yeah, I feel like it's a little bit of a journey here. This could be like enemies to lovers kind of thing. But I also just feel like a lot of this is in your future spouse's head, and they go over the top because they want to impress you. With the lion here, like, they really, you know, like that Leo energy of like having to be the best. And like, you know, and I'm a Leo myself, so, you know, no hate to Leos, but it's sort of the shadow side to Leo, if we think about that, you know, having to be like the center of attention and trying to impress people rather than going for authenticity. I could see that being maybe a little bit of an issue. But I also feel like there is going to be that transformation. Like, this person is going to end up being your Prince Charming, you know, and if I say something that's gendered, just ignore it. You know, like, it really doesn't matter. Princess, queen, king, whatever, doesn't really matter what their gender is, but there is going to be that transformation. Like, I'm talking about the trope of Prince Charming and the frog to the prince, okay? But yeah, it definitely feels like they could be from a different background than you, or they're just very different than the, you know, type of person that you usually go for. And it feels like they are definitely someone who is self-made. It really feels like, to me, like they've had to work hard and earn everything that they have, and that they're very proud of that, but it's also kind of like a chip on their shoulder. But in terms of love languages, I would definitely say quality time, and I would say gift giving would be a love language for this person. Okay, I'm gonna put this to the side. And actually, if you can give me just a minute, I need to turn on my fan. It's gotten really warm in here. All right, so sorry about that. I'm also just noticing, like, I chose the Mystic Fairy deck for your group, and just the fact that we've been talking about fairy tales is kind of funny to me. But anyway, that's a nice little synchronicity. Pile 3, how will your future spouse treat you? What do you need to know? Pile 3. And I hope it didn't sound really negative, because I think a lot of it, again, is very little to do with you and more to do with their own insecurities that they need to work through. All right, pile 3. Oh wow, that came out very forcefully. We have the Tower. I'll put this here. This is the cutest Tower card I think I have ever seen. I don't know if I've ever seen the Tower come out before while I've been using this deck, because that is adorable. I don't think I've ever seen the Tower card, which is kind of amazing because I use this deck a lot. All right, pile 3. How will your future spouse treat you? Pile 3. We have the King of Cups. We have the 3 of Pentacles. Okay, this is making a lot of sense. How will your future spouse treat you? Queen of Pentacles. Okay, yeah. Bottom of the deck, we have the Wheel of Fortune. I was picking up that energy with the little windmill here, so I like that confirmation. Okay, so I will just go ahead and say I was laughing because of this King of Cups here. You also have the 3 of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, and that Wheel of Fortune card. This King of Cups, this feels like this is your future spouse here. Again, gender doesn't matter. We're not concerned about kings being males or anything like that. It's just divine masculine energy. But I was laughing because there is this deep emotional depth to your future spouse, but they don't show that to you. And it's so funny. Like, I feel like in the beginning when you're dating them, they try to impress you with things that ultimately you don't really care about. Like, yeah, it might be nice to be treated to a really fancy dinner, or, you know, to have someone bring you a nice gift, you know, on the first date, or flowers, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, all of that is sort of just fluff, you know, it's bonus, it's extra. It's not what makes up the foundation of a connection. You know, it's just icing on a cake, but without the cake, what do you have? And so I feel like the real shame here is that if they would show that emotional, vulnerable side to themselves and that depth that they have, you wouldn't mistake them for a shallow person, and the connection would be a lot smoother in the beginning. But I kind of feel like you have to get past all of that before they'll open up to you in this manner. This is also water sign energy, so your future spouse could have placements in Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, but they don't have to. And I think also they're misreading you a little bit and what you're wanting. With this Queen of Pentacles here, like, I feel like they see you in this divine feminine energy, and they feel like you're wanting, I feel like they think that you put a higher value on materialism than you actually do. And I don't think that they even recognize your spiritual side in the beginning. And so as they get to know you, they sort of drop that facade that they had. You know, they kind of let their guard down a little bit, and they're like, oh, you know, actually if I was just myself, this person would be a lot more into me, and maybe I don't have to make a big show of trying to impress them. With the 3 of Pentacles, though, like, make no mistake, it really feels like your future spouse is putting in a lot of effort here, a lot of work. I'm gonna close the blinds because the sun is just no bueno. I feel like that is slightly better. I'm so sorry, pile 3. Hopefully it's not too dark for you to see now. But anyway, I feel like, yeah, they misjudge you. And so when they stop, you know, engaging in all these like tricks and things like to try to impress you, and they're just themselves, I feel like it goes a lot smoother. And with that 3 of Pentacles, your future spouse is putting in a lot of effort. You know, they're talking to your family and, you know, your friends, if that is a thing in the beginning. You know, like if you know mutual people, it's gonna vary, right, based upon everyone's situation. But, you know, or like your coworkers, even if you guys work in the same place, it could be sort of like them trying to get information about you, like what do you like, what are you into, you know, that way they can surprise you on the first date with like your favorite fragrance or your favorite flower, or yeah, just like, you know, some sort of gift. because you see how the butterfly is just like delivering this to her, so it really feels like they're wanting to, they're definitely wanting to give you things to, you know, kind of make you look at the connection favorably. And then yeah, I think that really, like, they're putting in a lot of effort, but they're doing it in a way that it's not actually making a difference in the beginning, because that's not what truly matters to you. Like, I feel like you're someone who is very spiritual. Like, you care more about having that compatibility, having chemistry, you know, you care about honesty and loyalty and commitment, and, you know, like, you're looking for things that are less tangible. You know, you're looking for something real and solid and trustworthy, and you don't really care about that icing on the cake. You don't really care about the flashy stuff. You know, you want something that's real and authentic and true. And so I think there is going to be a point in the connection where you guys have some sort of like passionate discussion about this. You know, they have this realization that they've been going about this all the wrong way. And then when they do like step into their authentic energy, I feel like everything about the connection is going to change. And I just feel like you're going to be a really good influence for them, because I think a lot of this, again, comes from past insecurity and hurt, and, you know, feeling like they have to be something that they're not, or they're not good enough on their own, and they have to do things to impress other people, you know, and you're going to teach them, like, you are completely lovable just as you are, and emotion isn't weakness. And so I feel like you're just going to open them up to just so much more, so much more. And so yeah, it's going to be like, okay, we got off to a rough start, and I don't think it's going to be an incredibly prolonged period, but it's kind of like, you know, maybe you have a false start or you have a rocky start, and so you're like, let's just start over from scratch. Like, there's going to be a moment in the connection where you're like, let's just start all over. Like, let's just start over, pretend like, you know, we haven't been on a date yet, we haven't talked, you know, like, let's just start over from scratch and give this another shot. And then when you do, it's going to be completely amazing, everything you've ever wanted, like a fairy tale. It's going to be incredible, and you're going to kind of feel like, man, why couldn't you have had this energy before? You know, like, what was the issue? And so with the Empress card here and the Star card, it's going to feel like a wish come true. It's going to feel like everything you prayed for. You're going to feel like you manifested this person. And it's just going to be like night and day. You know, it's a completely different energy. And I feel like your divine femininity really helps this connection along, you know, because you're like that side to you, that softer side to you, and you showing them that emotional vulnerability is not weakness, it's actually a strength. And showing them what really matters in a connection is going to be, you know, so helpful and so incredible. This is also someone that you could have children with. And with the Lovers here, this does feel like a soulmate level connection. So there is, and I think that's why you're willing to give them another shot, because you do feel drawn to them and it does feel like intuitively right. And so even if logically you feel like you shouldn't give this person another chance, because of your intuition telling you that it is a good idea, you are going to give them another shot. And I think people in your circle may be like, seriously, you're gonna give them another chance? Like, really? I thought you weren't into them at all. And yeah, I think it's gonna really surprise you how it transforms the minute they start to just be their authentic self with you, which is beautiful. So, such a different reading. It's always amazing to me how different each pile is. Okay, we really got more of a story with pile 2 and pile 3. I feel like someone is stabbing my leg right now. Like, oh man, I hope I feel better soon. Okay, pile 3. I was laying in bed and I was like, I'm so miserable. I may as well finish filming the reading, because if I'm gonna be miserable, I may as well be doing something that I enjoy and something that is a little bit distracting. So I'm just waiting to get in flow state and I can ignore my body for a minute. All right, so Pile 3, how will your future spouse treat you? Pile 3. And it's funny too, we got more of like how it's gonna be when you're first meeting them and dating them. It was not like that in pile 1. Oh, we got Destiny. That's funny. We were just talking about that with the Wheel of Fortune and the Star card. Pile 3, how will your future spouse treat you? What do we need to know? We've got Justice here. And then bottom of the deck, we have Abundance. Now, I feel like this Abundance card is really summarizing everything that we've already talked about, of them like wanting to lavish you with gifts and, you know, wanting to take you to nice places and, you know, all that kind of energy. And I think with Justice here, this is talking about how they always try to do right by you in terms of how they treat you. You know, they aren't ever trying to deceive you. Like, even when they're trying to present a version of themselves that they think you'll like best, it's not with bad intentions. You know, it's just because they have some insecurity, sort of issues to work through, some self-confidence issues. But in terms of like, you know, once you're married and once you're in a stable, committed relationship, they all, you know, it's like they learn that lesson. They're like, I need to always be honest with them. I need to be truthful. I need to be upfront. It's not fair to them if I'm, you know, hiding something, or if I'm not being my authentic self. You know, that's not fair. And so they're really going to take that lesson for what it is and just always be upfront about how they're feeling, what they're thinking, and yeah, just being themselves. And even with the 5 here, like, that's a big change from when you first meet them to how they end up being. And with the Destiny card, I feel like this is again just reassuring you, like, yes, this is your person, you know. And just because you don't have a fairy tale romance from the start doesn't mean that you won't have a fairy tale kind of ending, you know. Like, this is real life, right? Like, every connection is gonna have ups and downs, and things can be messy in the beginning, but it isn't indicative of like, this isn't your person kind of energy, you know, or that this person is wrong for you in some way. It kind of feels like, you know how like when you watch TV shows and you can tell that 2 actors, you know, 2 stars of the show are going to be end game. Like, you know they're end game. Like, you know it. You're like, okay, these 2 people are going to be together by the end of this show. You know, Ross and Rachel were like that. Not to say you're going to be like Ross and Rachel, but that was a good example, right? Like, Ross was really insecure, and when he finally got the girl of his dreams, his paranoia about her cheating on him with Mark, which didn't even happen, ended up with him basically like shooting himself in the foot and ruining what could have been, you know, a great relationship, you know, because of his own insecurity, because she wasn't cheating on him. And so then there were all these like crazy things that happen, and ultimately at the end of the show they end up together. So I feel like it's kind of like that. Like, it's very clear to Spirit that you're end game, like you are meant for each other, but it may just be a rocky start, you know. It may be a little bit messy, there may be some miscommunication, there may be you know, like some doubt, but that doesn't mean that it's not your person. And I think that your intuition is what is really gonna save this. Like, you know, you being open to giving them another chance is really going to be what pushes this forward, you know. And thank goodness you are spiritual, and thank goodness you are connected to your intuition, and you are in that beautiful divine feminine energy, because if you weren't, you know, an amazing connection could have passed you by. So really, I think that your future spouse is going to feel quite silly about how they initially approach the connection, and you'll probably get an apology, you know, with Justice, you know, like, let me apologize to the court, you know, for my past actions. You know, they are going to feel sorry about it. But I do think that this will be a balanced, healthy connection, you know, with the Star card and Justice showing up. This is definitely going to be a really strong, really romantic connection, but it's gonna feel like the love of a lifetime. It's just not gonna feel that way in the beginning. which is all right, you know, that's all right. Everyone's love story is a little bit different. Okay, so pile 3. I think this could also signify that maybe your future spouse encounters an increase in their finances. So like maybe when you're dating, they're still working on their financial stability, but by the time you get married, they are like in a really good place in their career. So they're kind of like, your future spouse is very ambitious. Like they're very hardworking. They have kind of that like hustle mentality. I think they're definitely someone who would buy into hustle culture, which is why they put in capitalism and why they put such an emphasis on materialism. And I think in that manner, you'll probably be really good for them because like, yeah, financial stability and security is great, but not at the expense of you being able to be your true self. All right, pile 3, how will your future spouse treat you? We've got energy, we've got relaxation. I actually want to get one more card. I'm just feeling called to get one more card here. Oh, nurture. Okay. This is really, really cute to me because there's this element of them like wanting to take care of you, wanting to show up for you, wanting to do things for you, like acts of service kind of mentality. But then they also just like to spend time with you, and so then there's that quality time, but more so like they just like, there's something about your presence that is very energizing to them. And so like if they're having a rough day, just like coming over and spending time with you, even if it's just sitting on the couch and watching TV, is so good for their soul. Like they just love that so much. Yeah, this person really loves you, really loves you. I know it's your future spouse, but you know, not every marriage is happy, and this person really, really loves you. Yeah, it's kind of this energy of like, I would spend all my days doing nothing with you, like just chilling, relaxing, doing nothing, and still feel like I was holding the sun in my hands. Like, you know, like you're just such a light for them. And yeah, they just really love being in your energy. There's just something about being close to you that they just love and adore. And I think that's the word, is really like adoration. Like they just adore you so much. And I think that is what triggers some of that insecurity in the beginning of the connection. Yeah, and they really treat you like you're something precious, like you're something valuable to them. And I think that's why they put so much effort in the beginning to try to impress you, because they just see you as something so precious and so incredible and so like one in a million, you know, they feel like there's no one else like you. And so you see like the sun and the moon here, like the way she's cradling the moon and the way she's holding the sun here in her palm, like there's that beautiful balance there. Like it feels like one of you is the sun and one of you is the moon, and like you can't stop looking at each other, you know, like the day and the night met and they don't know what to make of each other in the beginning, but they fall in love. And so yeah, it feels like there's just sort of this energy of like, I just like to admire you, I just like to see you, I just like to be with you. And you know, they'll be enamored by your laugh and the sound of your voice and the way that you move and like your facial expressions and just everything about you. Like it feels like an all-encompassing love, you know, like, and I think that would be part of the problem in the beginning. It's like Cupid's arrow has struck and they don't know what to do with that. Like they've never, I don't know if they've ever really been in love before. Like maybe they thought they were in the past, but until they met you, they were like, oh, that was puppy love before, or that was just infatuation. Like I feel like that's part of what sparks some anxiety for them in the beginning, because they've never been in love the way that they love you, and they can't explain it, you know, they can't put it into words. And I think typically they're a very logical, rational person, so they're gonna struggle with that. I don't feel like this is someone who's connected to their feminine energy, you know, at least on the surface, you know, like they don't present themselves in that way, but they do have that emotional depth and they do have that capacity for vulnerability, but they just think that that's something to hide. And so yeah, I feel like there's a real like self-development process that your future spouse goes through. I think that you have a very positive effect on them, and that's not to say that you're not going to learn things from them. We're just more so focusing on their energy in this reading for right now, at least. If I see some messages come up about you, I'll mention it, but for right now, it's very squarely talking about how your future spouse is going to grow throughout this process of getting to know you and dating you and, you know, eventually getting married. But yeah, I think that there's also an energy here of them really liking to be playful with you as well. And they may treat you in a way that is very softer. Yeah, that's a lot softer than how they treat other people. So I think you'll get a sillier, more lighthearted side to them that other people don't really get to see very often. Yeah, and I think you're going to feel quite special about that, that, you know, they trust you enough to show that side of themselves. Trying to think if there's any other messages here. I think that's it for right now. Let's keep going. I don't want to get repetitive, so we'll move on. All right. Pile 3, how will your future spouse treat you? What do we need to know, pile 3? We got purification. I think this is also, like, I know I keep talking about, like, the issue in the beginning, but it's almost like they may idealize you or put you on a pedestal in the beginning, and they may see you as something that's pure and perfect, and then it's like, as they get to know you and the connection has that real depth to it, then they start to appreciate love in a more grounded way. And I think it's definitely for the betterment of your overall connection, because you should feel like you can make mistakes, and you should feel like you can be with your partner and not look your best, and, you know, have bedhead and that kind of thing, without feeling like they're gonna love you less. And that's not to say that your future spouse would, but it's more so just to say that them starting to view you as a person with flaws, just like anybody else, is going to be good for the connection, because it's almost like in the beginning they're so love struck that they don't see you as a dynamic person with flaws and a shadow side and things that you need to work on and irritating qualities, right? Like, we all do things that are annoying and that we have no self-awareness about. Everyone does. Everyone has a thing. It's actually kind of awful when you find out what your thing is. If someone tells you, you're like, oh my gosh, how long have I been doing this for? Like, why didn't anyone tell me? I get impatient in, like, workplace settings, because especially if I'm working at a fast-paced job and people are doing things that I think are, like, a waste of time. Like, if I'm in the middle and I'm very stressed, and I'm in the middle of doing something, and my coworker decides that's a great time, especially if it's my boss, and they decide it's a great time to come over and tell me about all of their personal problems, you know, or they start talking to me about something that, especially if it's my boss and it's something wrong. Like, I remember I had to stand there one time while the supervising physician and the PA that I was working for, the physician assistant, was talking, and they had the wrong patient, and I knew that, but I knew as a nursing assistant I couldn't speak up and say that because of the hierarchy, and, you know, there were some fragile egos that I was working with, and if I would have said something, I would have gotten in trouble for it, even though I had to stand there for, I swear, like 20 minutes. Like, it felt like an eternity, and it was such a waste of time. And that's like, sometimes I'm not able to bite back, you know, like my words, and I end up interrupting someone, and I don't do it in a way that's rude, but that is, like, irritating to people. Even if I'm right, I know it's irritating to people to be interrupted, but I can't stand it. And I have a way shorter tolerance for it in workplace situations. But, like, now that I'm, like, you know, training to be a therapist as a social worker, I am so mindful of never interrupting anybody, especially in like, you know, the context of like a counseling session. And so like I'm very mindful of my pauses, and I'm very, you know, so I think that that's something that can be applied to this scenario. Like when your future spouse sees you in your entirety, it's kind of like they're gonna feel more at ease with you, because you seeming so perfect is so intimidating. So then when they finally see you as a real person, which is important, you know, then not only is their love for you no longer shallow, it has depth to it, but also they can feel free to be their true self, you know, in all of its flawed, messy human glory. So I think that's going to be something that's very good. Sorry, I went off on a whole tangent. I'm a little scattered today. I hope it applied. I hope it made sense. All right, grounding here. I just said that. They're going to love you in a way that is no longer shallow, in a way that's grounded, but it's going to be a process. With the 5, there's going to have to be a change. But when they do love you, it's not to say they don't love you in the beginning, but when they get to know you and they love you from a place that's real and has depth and is grounded and isn't shallow and based upon, you know, like your physical attributes, it really feels like they're going to be very physically attracted to you, given how this is unfolding. But yeah, I really feel like in a real sense, this person's going to be the person to show up for you, to be your rock. You know, they're the person that you can rely upon, the person you can depend upon. They're always going to be there for you when you need them. And yeah, they're going to love you for exactly the person that you are. We have continuance. I love this. I love this so much, because the apple makes me think of that physical attraction and that lust that we were talking about. But the fact that it says continuance, and that idea of like an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and something being healthy for you, and then you also got wisdom next to it, like really feels like we're saying, okay, yes, like this connection has lasting power. Like this is a marriage that's going to last, a marriage that has longevity. You know, they're going to continue to love you even after they like take a bite of the apple and they gain that wisdom, and you know, rose-colored glasses are off, honeymoon period is over, I see you for who you are and I love you. You know, like it doesn't change, the love doesn't fade. And you know, even after the honeymoon period is over, that love is still sustainable, that passion is still there, that spark hasn't faded, which is beautiful. So yeah, this is the person who is always going to notice when you cut your hair, when you buy a new outfit. You know, they're always going to compliment you and tell you how attractive you are. They're always going to, yeah, it definitely feels like this person is always going to put in effort into the connection. This doesn't feel like someone who would grow complacent in the marriage. You know, that definitely happens. Not to say that some things won't change, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I don't see them growing very complacent. Pile 3, how will your future spouse treat you? Pile 3. They're always going to be honest. We got that with the Justice card. I feel like they learn that, like, keeping secrets does no good. They're always going to be honest with you. They're not going to, you know, just try to show you this false, polished version of themselves. Teacher, yeah. I feel like they're willing to learn from you. They're willing to humble themselves, which I think is really positive, because it's definitely not a common attribute. I'm also just feeling called to get so many more cards for you all than I did for the other groups. I don't know why. I just feel like your future spouse has a lot that they want to say to you. Yeah, and they really do. Like I think that they also are going to be someone who is good to parent with. Like if you're wanting kids, this is going to be someone who has an active role in parenting. They're not going to be like, oh, you know, you're responsible for that and I'm responsible for this. And, you know, it's not going to be the type of person who's like, well, I work and you stay at home, so you have to do everything. You know, it's not like that. You know, they really want a true partnership here, and they are willing to admit when they're wrong. If you're having an argument, you know, they're not obstinate. They're not, you know, they're humble enough to apologize, to admit their faults. You know, they're willing to engage in that self-reflection. This could also be someone who was married before in the past and is really afraid of getting another divorce and doesn't want to repeat the mistakes of their past. That's a very specific message. It may not resonate for everyone, but it did come through, so I wanted to mention it. With prosperity here, like, they really are very focused on giving you the world. And, you know, sometimes you may feel like, I can do that for myself, like I don't need you to do all these things, but I just feel like that is part of who they are to an extent. I do think that they're gonna calm it down a bit, but I do think that there's just a part of themselves that has to achieve, you know, like this really seems like an overachiever, and they are, you know, a little bit perfectionistic, I think, as well. And so they just want you to see them as someone who brings something to the table, kind of energy. Okay, let's see what else we have. These are going to be your final messages now. How will your future spouse treat you? Pile 3. How will your future spouse treat you? Pile 3. We have forgiveness. They're willing to ask for forgiveness. Like, when they mess up, they are able to admit it. They're able to, you know, humble themselves. Like, if they have a bad day at work and they come home and they take it out on you, like, we've all done it at least once in our lives towards somebody. You know, like, they're not obstinate. Like, they're humble enough to say, I'm sorry, you know? Like, it is a skill as an adult. Like, it amazes me, like, especially with certain family members and friends. I'm like, you know, saying I'm sorry is something, it should never be viewed as a weakness. Like, that is something that as an adult you should know how to do. You know, like, it may take some time. You know, don't just throw out an I'm sorry if you don't really mean it. But, you know, if you need like 30 minutes or so to process what has happened, to self-reflect and say, you know, like, I messed up. I get that. Come back and say, I'm so sorry. I acknowledge that I did this, this, and this, and it wasn't my intention, or, you know, like, whatever. And I'm genuinely sorry, and I hope that you can forgive me. Like, that's it. End of story. Like, there's no, but you did this to me, you know, like, no list of excuses, no, like, you know, you need to get over it, you need to let it go, don't hold a grudge, like, you know, no turning the tables and blaming the other person, no silent treatment, even, you know, to guilt them into apologizing to you. Like, I don't know, it just blows my mind how people make it so difficult. Like, conflict resolution, people can be just so passive aggressive. I kind of feel like they should teach it in high school, like, just boundary setting, conflict resolution, and how to apologize. Like, there should be an etiquette class or something. I don't know, but people don't, I don't know, some people just don't know how. They never learn. Yeah, maturity. Here we go. Like, this person's gonna be mature. You know, like, there may be a rough start in the beginning, but man, do they know how to say they're sorry, and they know how to step up to the table and admit their faults and do better and grow and learn. And that is something that is beautiful and incredible. And, you know, take a page out of your future spouse's book, because, yeah, and I feel like they are so grateful to you for this, because they always had that depth, but they were so secretive and private, and, you know, were afraid to show that side to themselves. And so being with you, they just feel so free to express themselves. And, yeah, I feel like they're just really going to be so grateful to you for that. With the silver waterfall here, like this is like 10 of cups kind of energy. Like this is domestic bliss, this is ultimate happiness, this is like the Garden of Eden. And so, yeah, I feel like where you two are headed together, like there's a lot of opportunity for both of you to grow together. There's a lot of opportunity for, you know, you to evolve together. But I think like what is at the end of it, you know, that fairy tale kind of ending we were talking about, that's the silver waterfall. So I think that's a perfect card to end your reading. You know, like this will be a healthy, happy, lasting marriage, but you know, it just may not start off as the perfect, ideal fairy tale, love story, rom-com kind of moment in the beginning, but I think it will ultimately end in emotional fulfillment on both sides, which is beautiful. All right, I also forgot to say, like, maybe this is someone from your past. Like, some of you may already know this person and you didn't see them as a romantic love interest in the past, or they were an acquaintance from your past, or, you know, maybe for some of you this is an ex, I don't know. But, you know, just take whatever resonates and please leave the rest. Okay. Thank you all for your patience. I know that I wasn't like my best self in this reading, but you know, everyone gets sick and we do the best that we can. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to simply watch the ads. Thank you all so much for everyone who chooses to do any of those things, especially watching the ads, because I know they can be super annoying. And also, yeah, take care, Pile 3. I'll see you all in my next one. I have plenty of future spouse readings coming in the month of November. I don't know when I'm going to post this, but I have 3 other videos that I'm really excited about. One of them is like your future spouse's physical appearance, and the other one I think is going to be like dating your future spouse. I can't remember what the other one is, but I have some good videos planned, so make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out, and I will see you all in my next one. Take care, Pile 3.